Welcome to the Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation, where we explore key issues and compelling stories in the trucking industry. I'm your host, Sage Anderson, and you're listening to episode 86, Telling Stories, Germaine's story from homelessness to truck driving. Jamaal's story will take you on a ride from central Illinois all the way to California as he is on a mission to provide for his family. We will learn about a father's heart in the midst of financial crisis, trying to do what's best for his children. And now, here's the full story on this featured exchange. But I was excited about your name because Jamaal, Germaine, Terminal Exchange, like it just kind of had a ring to it.
Yeah, I have a weird name. So my first name is Jamaal. My middle name is Jeremiah, and my last name is Germaine.
Okay.
So my first name is Islam, which means young prince.
Ooh.
My middle name was named after the weeping prophet, Jeremiah. Jeremiah was tested so much by God, right? He was put through the ringer by God. Mm-hmm. But Jeremiah also had a purpose in God's ministry. Then my last name means young peasant girl.
What?
Yeah, young peasant girl. My last name's Christian. My middle name is Jewish.
Okay.
And my first name is Islam.
Okay.
It's Islamic.
Do you have anyone in your family that's Islamic, or they just...
Not that I know of. I'm not going to say I don't, but,
Sure.
you know, people tend to believe or worship how they choose. Mm-hmm. It's not my place to tell them, but sometimes... regardless of what's going on, I still pray for them.
Yeah.
You know, regardless if they believe in God or not, I still pray for them because that's what God told me to do.
Yeah.
I can't tell you do something that you don't feel in your heart that's right. Mm-hmm. I have to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So whether they believe in what I believe in or not, I still want to support them by praying for them.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want it, I can pray for them in silence.
Yeah.
You know, pray for their safety. Even, especially as a truck driver, I'm on the road and I get somebody cut me off and, you know, I'm so, you know, everyone like, oh, you know, but no, I'm going to pray for them because obviously they're not in their right state of mind to see a truck coming.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, I'm not sure if I have anyone. I do know I have a person in my family that lives in Israel. Mm-hmm. I'm aware of. But they live there because they're in the U.S. military, so okay. they're based there.
Sure.
So I know that they practice a lot of customs there. Mm-hmm. They've been in Mecca and stuff like that, which I would love to go one day.
Yeah.
Go to Jerusalem and Bethlehem.
Yeah. So,
you know, Jerusalem is not Jerusalem it was in the Bible. It's all rubbles and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I would love to go there one day, visit. But as far as I know, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just my name was weird. You know.
I like it. Yeah. I like it a lot. So yeah, going into, we started with your name. Where did you grow up? Where are you from? How did you get here?
Well, I grew up in Oakland, California. When I was a kid, my city was always, Oakland, California is like a party city. Okay. So people tend to go there to have fun and stuff like that. I remember going to ball games, stuff like that as a kid. But Oakland, California, you know, it's hard to get people to know where Oakland is because when they think of California, they think of L.A. Yeah. So I tell people I'm from, oh, how far are you from L.A.? I say, I'm about 7.5 hours away. Sure. Wait, you that far? Yeah, it's a long state. It's very far. I grew up there up till the age of, I would say about 15 years old. Okay. My mom, she got hurt. She got injured. My stepfather physically assaulted her. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up moving to Vallejo, California. From there.
And were you an only child, or did you have siblings?
No, I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. Okay. My brother, God rest his soul, is not here no more. But yeah, he was the oldest. Then my older sister, she currently lives in Oakland. And my little sister's up to live with my mom in Vallejo, California. Okay. we was all raised as Christians, all raised in church and stuff like that. And been to so many churches. There's so many out there, like so many different aspects of worship, perspectives, and denomination. But it's always been the same. You know, just always had a routine. My mom said, I don't care what you got going in your life, but in this house, we're going to serve the Lord. So that's what we did. We went to Bible study. Sometimes we'd be outside holding the signs up, out for prayer and stuff like that. And I always thought, like, this is stupid. You know, I'd rather be outside with my friends and stuff like that. I'm out here holding the sign up. Actually, like, you know, as a kid, you know, I'm a kid. So, you know, kids, we don't think about our future. We just think about the moment. In that moment, I didn't want to be there. The moment I wanted to be at the park or somewhere. But, when I got older, I ended up moving to San Francisco. I went to school out there. I went to Job Corps, went to culinary school. I took culinary art school. It was funny because have you ever seen this movie called The Pursuit of Happiness? I have. So I remember when we had woke up one day, my class, we came up, and they kept telling us we got a big announcement coming on, and we not knowing what's happening. I remember seeing a big, giant blue yacht in front of our kitchen. And the dock there was locked. It was always locked. And we thought it was not utilized. Couldn't find out it was Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith in that boat the whole time. And so I got a chance to meet them when I was in school, right while they was filming the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. I got a chance to go to Glide Memorial Missionary Baptist Church in San Francisco, where Cecil Williams is the pastor there, and I was one of the chefs there during the film. I met him, his wife, and his son, and his daughter. Cooked them omelets and, you know, cooked them some. I think he has like some roast. No, he has Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak over potatoes.
Well, I would just it's just incredible how food can bring you together with all sorts of people, like just food.
It's crazy. Player. Good food will bring people together, but bad food will get people talking. Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. You know, that's the worst thing you want. Well, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing too, because, you know, when people tell us, typically when people say the food's gross, typically people don't try it because they think they want to see for themselves, which I don't know why, but I felt bad last night. I went to dinner with my husband, and I convinced him to get a soup that I wanted, but it was like a salmon bisque, and I was already getting salmon, so I was like, you get it. And then it was so salty, and so I just felt horrible for him. I was like, that's the worst. That's the worst. Like, dang, you got just dig up all the salt in the ocean up. What's going on here? But see, that's how I feel about biscuits. Like, you know, there's some good biscuits out there, and then there's some really, really bad biscuits out there. Like, I make a joke all the time. I say, you know what? You can't get those biscuits away, Popeyes away to no one. I think that's a good April Fool's joke. Don't take my idea, but give someone a whole box of Popeyes biscuit with a chicken, piece of chicken in there, and say, here you go. And see, with no water. That would be funny. But
let's get back to your story too.
I got a chance to cook for him. I met Arnold Schwarzenegger. Also, that's when he was the governor of California.
Wow.
I remember he flew in. It was a big old giant helicopter flew in. Because at the time I lived on Treasure Island.
It's just funny. You called him the Governor because he's like the Terminator. The governor.
We used to call him Governor because the guy was. I mean, on TV they make him look really huge, but really he was a really small guy, but really ripped. But we did all this. We cooked a lot of barbecue, a lot of ribs, a lot of briskets, and stuff like that. And we made a lot of specialties meal. And this guy came in. He flew in, landed in helicopter. They came in, grabbed a plate, and left. We did all the cooking for what? You know, we were so mad, but it was worth it. You know, I got a chance to glimpse at Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, grew up watching Terminator, so it was kind of cool seeing that guy. And then from there, I had my first child, my son Jamaal Jr. I was young. I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Met my now ex-wife, Dominique, there in San Francisco. We ended up, we created 4 kids together. I had 2 boys and girls, Jamaal, Jabriel, Jamaal, Jada, Jabriel, and Jacoby.
Okay.
All J's, I know. It was not my idea, but it was not my idea, but we're here. Yeah. We struggled a lot. It was a struggle. The problem with California is not that it's expensive. The fact that it's so expensive that even if you have a 6-figure salary, you can't afford it. And so here I'm a chef. I'm supposed to be a chef.
Yeah.
And, they promoted, you could make a lot of money as a chef. They showed this on TV. They showed Emerald, this and that. That's not the case.
Yeah.
So it was a lesson learned. And I had to tell myself, man, so I went to school. I'm going these jobs, and I'm barely making $10 an hour. In a place where the rent is like $7,500 a month for a 2-bedroom.
Wow.
Struggling. Can't really afford the rent. Can't afford basic groceries. My cell phone, especially with 4 kids, it's hard. Yeah. Get diapers and formula and this and that. And so a few times we lost our place. We was homeless. A few times we had to sleep in a car. Stayed in a shelter, stayed with family. And that took a toll on my marriage. Obviously, at some point, it's like, something got to change. And so we ended up moving to Stockton, California. And from there, me and her just parted ways. Again, it's very expensive. Stockton, California is not as expensive as the immediate part of the Bay Area, but it's just as expensive.
Yeah.
I would say the cost of living in Stockton, California is the same as living in Joliet.
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
So just to go back during that time of struggling with having a home, living in the car, the shelters, like how did you feel as a father? Like what was going through?
So it's a lot of pressure because here I am supposed to be a provider.
Yeah.
Based on what the Bible says, or Scripture says. And I'm very traditional.
Yeah.
I'm a very traditional guy. I believe that man's supposed to be a provider and protector of his family.
Yeah.
But how could a man provide if he can't provide? It's not like I wasn't looking for work. It wasn't like I wasn't trying to go to work.
Yeah.
First off, it costs money to make money.
Yeah.
Especially in today's economy. But it's fair. It's not easy to come by, especially when you don't have a job.
Yeah.
And since all the jobs are so scarce, because I'm in a very dense, very overly populated area. If I could get a job, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
So the first job offered me, I take it because I had no choice. So I often found myself.
But you did have a choice, and you took it. Like that in itself is so incredible.
But the thing is, it was hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I got the credentials as a chef, but here I am working as a cashier at a gas station.
Yeah.
Here I am scrubbing toilets, and I'm working at a fast food place, and I'm not even cooking the food. I'm just making a sandwich and putting it around. Here you go, order number 1.
Yeah.
I'm not even in a fine dining restaurant what I'm skilled at. I was trained to be a fusion art chef.
Yeah.
I was trained to work on cruise ships and resorts and high-end restaurants, but here I am working minimum wage, barely making it. And at $12 an hour, it's hard to feed one person, let alone 5.
Yeah.
Or 6.
Yeah.
And then have to go to work. You have to have a cell phone because we got kids. You got to have a way of contact. You got to take the kids to school. My oldest son, he was special needs. He was a high functional autism, and caring for him and then his siblings was hard because the schools that he could go to, they couldn't go to. So their schools will be about 5 miles apart from each other. He get to be on school bus, but my other kids couldn't.
Yeah.
So I would have to take my kids to school every day myself and put gas in my car. Gas is like $4 or $5 a gallon. It's like I'm barely making it.
Yeah.
I'm barely even able to put gas in it was times where I had to pull to a gas station in front of a pump and just pray that someone helped me. It was times where I had to, hey, sir, I got kids. I just need help. I'm just trying to get 4 miles on the road. Can you spare some change? I can put gas in my car. There was times when I had to lift my carpet up my couch and flip things up. I would go for long walks just to look for pennies on the ground, just so I could have money to put in my kids, my car, just to get my kids to school. Go to the food pantry sometimes when I'm not able to go because it's hard. Keep groceries on top of that. I was receiving food stamps, but because the cost of living, we had to sell it just to pay our rent. Then we had no food. Then we had to start process all over again. Every month was like, and then it comes like, oh Lord, here come rent, here come that rent, here comes this, here come that bill, here come that bill. Like I said, it got to a point where it became too much. So me and my ex-wife, we separated, and I had a choice: either stay in Stockton, California, or move. Yeah. So I ended up started working security. I was working at several nightclubs and bars and stuff like that. I remember I rented a guy. He pulled into the bar in a Rolls Royce. And I'm like, man, that's a nice car. He said, you can have this too. I said, man, stop playing with me. That's a Rolls Royce. I had to walk here. He said, no, man. He said, no, I'm not joking. You can have this. He said, if you really want this, you can get it. I said, but how? He said, well, first you want to move. I said, what do you mean? He said, what's your name? I said, my name's Jamaal. He said, well, to be honest with you, you're from here, right? I said, yeah. That's all I know. All I know is the struggle. All I know it was where I'm from. And he said, well, I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I said, Louisville, Kentucky? What the? All right, and I said, what's out there besides cows? And I don't know. I don't know. I'm a city boy, so I don't know what they don't show on TV, basically. And when he was saying that, all I thought was The Wizard of Oz and tornadoes and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I ain't trying to go out there with no tornadoes at. No, man. He said, it's not like that. He said, yes, tornadoes out there, but it's not as you think it will be. Yeah. He said, man, I moved here. I moved out of, he said, I lived in San Francisco. I left San Francisco 15 years ago, and now I own 2 houses. I said, well, what do you do? He said, well, I'm a truck driver. I said,
and that's where it begins, huh?
I said, okay. I said, well, I can't do that. Me as a truck driver, nah, man. It's like, okay. But then, me and my ex-wife, we've officially separated, and I was in tears because I knew I had to do something that I didn't want to do. So I grew up without a father. I grew up not having a dad. But I felt at the time I was hurting my kids more by me staying because I'm struggling and I'm not able to provide for them. And I'm taking from my kids that I cannot give them. And so I was actually playing my PS4, I was playing Call of Duty, and I talked to my friends, and one of my friends was telling me about Illinois. She said, well, her name's Keisha. She said, Jamaal, wait, if you really want to start over, you should consider moving to the central Illinois. I was like, what is that? I never heard of that. She said, well, you can move to Rantoul. I said, Rantoul? What is Rantoul? She said, I looked it up. I said, this thing says it only have 500 people here. What is that? She said, yeah, it's more than that. It said population 500 people. I said, is there a hospital there? She said, well, yeah. She said, well, then again, Jamaal, I said, you're from Oakland, right? I said, yeah. You're a city boy. Yeah. She said, oh, but you're from Oakland. A place like Rantoul would not be good for you because it's too slow. She said, I wouldn't recommend you going to Chicago because it's too dangerous. So yeah, but you're from Oakland, so you're used to it. But putting you in that area, that's going to put you backwards than where you were trying to go. Mm-hmm. So she said, well, Bloomington Normal might be good for you. I said, what in the heck is a Bloomington Normal? She said, this Bloomington is normal. I said, wait. I said, there's a Bloomington, city of Bloomington, and the city of Normal. Who named a city Normal?
Yeah.
Like, that's just the most unnormalist thing I ever heard in my life. Yeah. Like, that just don't make no sense. And she said, well, there's more opportunity here, especially as a black man, for you to get back on your feet. So it's going to take you a little time, but if you persevere and go through and persevere, you'll find yourself back on your feet. So when I left California, I had only $500 to my name. Mm-hmm. And that was in 2018, March 2018. I left March 29th, 2018. I bought a one-way Greyhound ticket. I took a Greyhound. It brought me to L.A. from Stockton, from L.A. to Las Vegas to Utah City. I never heard of Utah City before. And I remember going to Utah, and I seen a couple of tumbleweeds going on the road. I said, I will never want to come back here again. And I went to some rest stop, and I seen a wagon on top of a roof. I was like, oh, I'm not coming back here again. And then I seen snow for the first time. Wow. And I'm asking people, what is that? I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Oh, that's snow. Well, that's what it looks like? Yeah. So don't worry, it'll be more. I said, for real? So I was excited. But every time I got off the bus, there was no snow. It was just dirt, sand. Yeah. It was hot outside. I was like, but I see snow. I said, but that's in the mountaintop. Wait till you get to Denver. So I went to Denver, and there was snow everywhere, and I'm like, man, this is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. That's it. The guy was like, man, we hate. I ain't snowing there. I said, man, you don't understand. I grew up watching The Christmas Story. Yeah. And Home Alone, and I always, as a kid, wanted to experience this. Mm-hmm. Never in my life seen it before. Don't even know what it is. Yeah. At the time, I had on flip-flops and short pants and a tank top. He's like, dude, you're not dressed for winter. I said, well, I'm from California. We don't have this. So, we don't have this where I'm from, so I don't know. And so I finally stepped, first time I actually stepped in snow, I was in Des Moines, Iowa. First time in Iowa. And I had my socks on and my flip-flops, and I stepped my foot in it. I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And a guy walked by, he said, man, you crazy. I said, what do you mean? You out here, where's your shoes at? I said, I got them on. He said, nah, man. Where you from? I said, I'm from Oakland. He said, oh, never mind. And then when I finally came to Bloomington Normal, at the time, I only had $100 left in my name. Mm-hmm. I had food. I got trapped in Denver because the roads, because it was a blizzard or something happened in Nebraska, and the roads shut down and stuff like that. And I'm like, they could shut down roads. I didn't know they could do that. Mm-hmm. Because again, this is things they don't show on the news where I'm from. Yeah. Ever. All they show is heavy storms, blizzards, and people digging themselves out of cars, stuff like that. That's all I saw. Sure. I didn't know that they shut down roads too, and I never heard of black ice before. Mm-hmm. Never heard of whiteouts. I didn't know that was such a thing. Mm-hmm. And so when I got to Bloomington, because I only had $100 for my name, I finally got off the bus out to Uptown Station. I stepped out with all my luggage, and I had 2 duffel bags. It was just clothes and shoes. And I had a toothbrush and my cell phone. That's all I had on me. Mm-hmm. And I stepped down. It's like, I'm here. Now what? And so my friend Keisha said, Jamaal, when you get in town, make sure you call the Salvation Army till you have shelter. So I called the Salvation Army ahead of time, and they said we may have a bed for you here. There's no promises this winter time. Just come when you can. But we have a date for you to come in. So it was actually April 2nd, the day I was about to check in the Salvation Army. I got there March 29th, 2 days early. Okay. So I had nowhere to go. So, because I only had $100 in my name, and I went to punchline.com and found a hotel, and I went to the extended stay for a day, 2 days, and stayed there for 2 days. I was the one on South Veteran Parkway, called a cab over there, and I remember seeing the snow. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Woke up the next day, the snow was gone. I was like, what the?
Where'd it go?
And I asked the lady, so what happened to the snow? She said, it melted. What do you mean melt? It went away. I said, it melted. I said, wait, but I didn't get to see the snow. I didn't get to check the conspiracy yet. Like, in my mind, I wanted to make a snowman. I wanted to make a snow angel. I wanted to throw a snowball. I seen all that on TV. I wanted to enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was gone. And that was the last time I saw snow. So when I called the Salvation Army, they told me, well, in order for you come checking in here, you have to go to the police station and have them run your name for warrants. I said, you want me to do what? You want me to go to where? You want me, a black man, to go to the police station in front of all these cops and have to run my name for warrants to get a police card or clearance card? I said, what if I had warrants? Well, you get arrested. Well, why would I want to do that for? That don't make no sense. I know I'm good, but
yeah.
So all this, when I'm going through prayer, and I'm praying and praying and praying. I'm on the phone with my mom, my cousins, and I'm doing this by faith. I'm coming out here by faith. I don't know what God has in store for me. I don't know what this is going to happen. I don't know if this is going to be successful or not. But I'm just coming out here for an opportunity. So I stayed in the Salvation Army for almost a year. Okay. So my first job, I was working for a company called Railroad Express. I was a commercial driver for little small vans. It's a transport driver for the rail crew, and I was going across the country. Well, not the whole country, but parts of the country, and to the rail yards. And they gave me a Garmin GPS, and they didn't give me addresses. They gave me coordinates.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I had to type the coordinates into the Garmin and follow it wherever it took me. And it was taking me to cornfields and stuff like that. And I was thinking, like, dang, I seen this on a scary movie. Because I never seen cornfields either. Yeah. The last time I seen a cornfield was on the movie Children of Corn. And every scary movie I seen had a cornfield on it. And I'm thinking, like, God, please don't let no weirdo come out here.
Oh, no.
I don't know. So it was a good experience. The first I drove was I went to O'Hare Airport, picked the guy up, then went all the way to the airport in Memphis. I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I picking a guy from the airport just to take him to another airport?
He just flew.
Yeah, just flew, but it was what it was.
Sure.
So that was my first taste as a commercial driver.
Did you know at this point, living at the Salvation Army, like you wanted to pursue a driving career based off of that encounter with the man with the Rolls Royce?
Not off bat, but living in California, of course, driving from Oakland, every now and then going to L.A., and stuff like that. So I got used to driving long distances.
Okay.
I was used to driving for long hours at a time. And so it got easy. While I was walking around town, I kept seeing commercial CDL, hiring CDL drivers, this and that. And I remember seeing a car on Market Street saying, we're not hiring school bus drivers, this and that. I was like, okay, God, I keep seeing this everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. So I called the number, I put my application in, went to DMV, and they said, we can't let you get your CDL. Why not? Because your address. We can't, the law says you cannot hold a CDL if you are transient. Or if you, I said, but what if I stay in a hotel? We can't use that. It has to be an actual address that the federal government could come and arrest you at.
Okay.
I'm like, she said that was under the Patriot Act. I said, so you're telling me I can't get a CDL? No. And the time I was still homeless. So I ended up leaving Refocusing because of medical issues. Kind of found out I had sleep apnea.
Okay.
I didn't even know I had it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get a medical card because of it. Mm-hmm. I had sleep studies and got my mask, my machine, and stuff like that. And I ended up going from the Salvation Army. I ended up staying at the River Inn. I was working at Circle K, gas station. And I kept talking to truck drivers coming and doing deliveries. And one of the guys who I talked to, he was one of their marketing guys for Lakeshore Beverage. Mm-hmm. And he kept saying, man, he said, Jamaal, man, did you work yesterday? I said, yeah. He said, I could tell. I said, how? He said, because his store is a lot better than it was before you got here.
Aww.
I said, what do you mean? He said, I could go back there and see your impact versus when you're not working. He said before you got to this store was in shambles. The store was horrible. Now I got here, the store's clean, everything's put together. He said literally all the stuff that I would normally have to put on the shelf is already on the shelves. It's already stuffed, and all I have to do is come in and move boxes and go about my day. Make my order and go about my day. And the marketing manager for Circle K came in and gave me a little medallion and a little pay raise. And yeah, we noticed your work ethic was making our job easier for our vendors. But the guy would say, man, he kept saying, Jamaal, you're better than this. You're way more better than this. Guy has something better for you. He said, whenever you need to, he gave me the business card. He was a recruiter for them, for Lakeshore Beverage. See, if you ever get your CDL, call me.
Wow.
I said, okay. Of course, I didn't get it immediately because I couldn't, because I was staying in the hotel, couldn't get mail there. Mm-hmm. So that was the pastor's wife was talking to me. She said, Jamaal, you're paying $400 a week just to stay in the hotel room. He said, that's more than what people are paying per month for rent. He said, you're paying well over $1,500 a month just to stay in the hotel. Not every dime I got as my paycheck at the gas station went to my room. Mm-hmm. I ain't had no food. I couldn't get on a bus. I just had enough to pay my room.
Yeah.
So I finally bit the bullet, and I said, okay, I'm going to again step out on faith again. And I ended up going to Home Sweet Home Mission. Stayed there. It was a guy, big guy, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about truck driving is. He said, yeah, I used to work at Snyder, this and that, and he kept talking about drug driving, this and that. And I asked him, I said, well, can you see what was it hard? He said, no. He gave me a CDL book. See here, if you want to get your CDL, start reading. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, God, okay, this is it. So I started reading and this and that, and then I still couldn't get a CDL because I was homeless still. Mm-hmm. The director at Home Sweet Home Mission said, well, we realize, Jamaal, you're not from here. We keep forgetting you're not from here. So you never had a place. You don't have any evictions in your name. Nothing. You don't have nothing to even go by off of. Mm-hmm. So we're going to help you get a place. So they say, Jamaal, we need you to go and find an apartment. I said, okay. And at the time, I had a broken hand. Mm-hmm. Because I was working so hard at work, I actually snapped my tendon in my wrist. It hurts. It's really painful. Yeah. It's really painful. But I was still going to church. I was still playing drums. I was still involved in ministry. Still driving the church van, because at the time I was driving a church van. I was still going to work faithfully. Still praying. Still worshiping. Still reading my Bible. I was still putting God before myself, before everything. I'm still paying everything I'm supposed to do. And so I found a little apartment on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Showed them the case manager of the apartment. Later that day, I came back. They called me into the office. I'm in trouble. And they said, here, Jamaal, here's the keys.
Wow.
I said, what? Hey, we're going to take you to your place. And they took me to my apartment and showed me my place around, and I was in tears because that was in 2019, November 17, 2019. I've been struggling trying to get to the right point where I can finally start bettering myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I was still at the gas station. I was still scrubbing toilets and still cleaning gas pumps and still making sure people don't like cigarettes at a gas pump. Dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And still dealing with drunk people and stuff like that. And still trying to maintain my posture, my sanity while still struggling, hungry at times, no food, no money. It's by God's grace that God kept me in this position that I'm in. So while I was working at Circle K still, and I was saying, you know what? I found my place now. Okay, Jamaal, I need you to go ahead now and go after something that God told you to do. Because my mom always told me, when you hear the same thing over and over again, that means it's something that you need to pay attention to. So 4 different times, 4 different people told me to get my CDL.
Yeah. That
was in Stockton and 3 times in Illinois. So I found a car to First Student. So I thought it was, I didn't know it was 2 bus companies. I just knew the buses. So I applied for First Student. Got hired, and they said, well, we're going to start you off at $17 an hour, get your CDL, this and that, but the first week is unpaid. And I was like, oh, God, unpaid. But at the time, I was only making $9 an hour.
Okay, wow.
And so that was a huge leap.
Yeah.
And around December 2019, that's when I left for Circle K. I went to my assistant manager at my job and asked her, you think this is the right decision? Because I'm loyal by default. And so I was afraid of disappointing my job to go after a higher paying job. Because I didn't want to leave them high and dry.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still have responsibilities. I still have kids to take care of.
Yeah.
As a dad, I still got to take care of myself. Still got bills to pay. And she said, Jamaal, if I was you, I'd take it. So you work too hard. You've come so far for you to not go. And I remember the guy at my church. He went to CDO school and he became a truck driver. He went to Heartland through Nussbaum training. He told me, Jamaal, don't settle. He said, whatever you do, don't settle. He said, Jamaal, you have the potential to be the greatest person ever, but every time you stop and settle, you diminish yourself. Don't settle. So I called the number and said, got hired, then went to CDL training. They taught me how to drive a school bus. So for 2.5 years, I've been driving school buses.
Okay.
Driving kids around and stuff like that. And then one of my managers came in and said, they called me in the office and said, Jamaal, we was going over your resume, and we think so you have a customer service background. I said, yeah, I do. You look like you have sales too. I said, yeah, I do. I work cashiering and stuff like that. But I said, what was intriguing, the fact that he was a chef. So I said, yeah, so where are you going? He said, well, you have, have you ever thought about recruiting? I said, what? No. I said, well, we want to see, we're going to pay you to see if you could help us bring some employees in. The pay is only $13 an hour, however, but it's a steady income for you, especially during the summertime. I said, okay, I'm going to go with it, because me applying for unemployment, I didn't like it.
Sure,
because I just don't like the government telling me how much I can make and cannot make.
Yeah. I
know it's necessary, but I want to feel like a man and do it my way. So I went out recruiting, and my first day on the job as a recruiter, remember it was a party at Franklin Park in Bloomington, and there was a crowd of people, and I was still in training, and I walked up to the room and handed them all flyers, and when the guy said, "Well, I'm retiring," I said, "Well, no, man, it's so cool." I said, "But hey, if you ever get bored, come work for us." The next day, I get a phone call from my boss. He said, "I need to talk to you right now." And I'm like, "Uh-oh. What did I do?" Next I know, Chris Coyle was the regional manager for First Student was there, and the superintendent of Unit 5 school district was there. And I'm thinking like, I did something, I'm going to get fired. Oh, no. They said, "Jamaal, what did you do yesterday?" I said, "Nothing. I just did what you guys told me to do, go recruit." Said, "Did you know who you were talking to yesterday?" I said, "What do you mean?" So, "Did you go to a party at a park yesterday?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Jamaal, did you know you just recruited my boss?" I said, "What?" That's what Chris Coyle said. "Jamaal, that party, that retirement party you was at?" I said, "Yeah." That was the retiring superintendent for Unified School District. And the guy who you were talking to was the vice president of First Group. That was the bosses. He said, because what I did was I walked up to him, and he said, "Well, young man, I'm too old. I don't know how to use cell phone." So I grabbed my phone and I showed him how to put application and had him put application on the spot, and then walked away. And then at that time, got 13 people put applications on the spot. Of course, they didn't intend to come work for First because they were all the bosses.
Yeah.
For Unified. Right? So they're all head of transportation.
Wow.
And I didn't know that they were I just saw them as a person who could possibly want to come work here, and sure. I explained to them, "Hey, you can come bring your kids to work, you could do this, and they asked me, "Well, how you like?" I said, "Well, I like it. It's a different experience. With all experiences come new trials and error. But I think with that trials and error, it's going to make a difference out of you as a person. And of course, if you ever need help, I'm here. I'm always going to be here to help you and talk to you about how to do your job correctly and what you should look for when you're in certain situations." And I did not know the vice president of First Group flew all the way to Ohio to do a going away party at the time. He had just retired as a superintendent of Unified School District.
Yeah.
So they said, Chris Coyle said, "Well, we liked how you handled yourself. It was perfect. It was on a spot. I need you, in 2 weeks from now, I'm going to have you come to my district." So he had me go to Lincoln, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And at that time, they needed 40 drivers.
Okay.
And so I went out there, and I just helped them. I helped them get 25 drivers.
Wow.
And then they sent me to Galesburg. Galesburg needed 16. I kind of found out the problems of Galesburg location, and I brought it up to my boss location and said, "Hey, it's not that this location can't get employees. The guy who's in charge is actually not hiring these people because of the color of their skin." I said, this one person showed me his application and said he was not qualified. I said, "Wait, how is he not qualified? He's of age. He doesn't have any records. He never been in an accident, never had a DUI, nothing. So how is he not qualified?" Because at that time, the location manager there, he didn't want to hire no one. He only wanted to hire his buddies. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I had to report that to my boss. Say, "Hey, this is why this location is having problems with finding groups of people."
Yeah.
And so they changed it. That guy got demoted, and now they have a surplus of drivers.
Wow.
It's to the point where they can't hire nobody.
Okay.
I went to, then they said, "Okay, well, we need you to go to Rantoul." So I went to Rantoul. First time Rantoul. Rantoul needed 8 drivers and 17 bus monitors. I was able to help them get their numbers up, plus candidates for Urban and Champaign. And then for our location, we needed at the time 35 drivers. I was able to help them get 25 drivers.
Wow.
So I had fun because it was fun for me. Mm-hmm. Because it wasn't because I saw it as a job. I saw it as me helping someone else get an opportunity I didn't have.
Yep.
I saw opportunity for someone else to get ahead.
Yeah.
And I explained to them, I said, man, especially the young guys, I said, man, you realize if you have your CDL, you know how many opportunities is there for you and this and that, and I showed them. Then I would show them, say, hey, this is what you keep making. I show them my paycheck. This is what you keep making. And that was always the number one seller. Mm-hmm. And I always tell my bosses, I say, the reason why we can't get employees in because you work in your own way. If you get out your own way, you'll find the gems that you need. You'll find those people in places that you never think about because you're too busy looking at places that you think is what is needed, the demographic.
Yeah.
I said, I'm coming to you from a place where, from the struggle. And there's people out here really struggling, but they don't have no way to get to the point where you need to be at because they don't have a way to get there. Mm-hmm. If you provide the bridge for them, they'll come to you.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. Instead of us just hoping job fair at the location, I said, you do realize there is not a bus that come over here, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people here don't have cars. Excuse me. What if we create a carpool system for them to get to work? What if we had a little school bus that's going to pick them up first in the morning, bring them to work, right? At the time, they say kids could come to work, but they had to be walking. I said, but you know how many kids are in car seats? Mm-hmm. These buses have seatbelts. There's no reason why this parent could come and bring their child in a bus in a car seat so they can do their job. Let them do their job. And guess what? You'll find these employees behind that wheel. Mm-hmm. And they changed it, and now they have more drivers. Recently, and I was, again, referring back to here, mm-hmm. I still felt the need to go further because I've driven up and down Illinois, there were all kind of mayhem on the road, kids fighting on a bus, and I always felt a void because I could never get out of my head about the first thing God told me. He said, man, would you get your CDL, become a truck driver? Yeah. And since it's by myself, I'm like, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I was I ended up flying out to Palm Springs for a church conference. And I was talking to one of the guys out there, and he was telling me, Jamaal, he said, Jamaal, so you gotta refocus your purpose. Mm-hmm. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, you gotta refocus what your goals are. What your real goals are? What are your values? And I explained to him. He said, well, you drove a van, you drove a bus. What's stopping you from driving a truck? Mm-hmm. I said, nothing really. He said, so why aren't you? Well, in 2019, COVID happened. Yeah. So I did try once before, but the funding for the school was not reachable, mm-hmm. attainable. So when we went to the unemployment office to get help to pay for class, they were not available. Mm-hmm. Heartland wasn't really available for classes either. I would go to Heartland and the doors were locked. Oh. So I tried. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't get there. And I tried to go to DMV. DMV would not let people in the doors for a long time. And then it went to where they'll let you in the doors, but you have to have an appointment just to come in the door in advance. And like, I'm just trying to take a test. I'm just trying to get this done, trying to get that done. But then they would have you waiting these long lines outside if you was you're just showing up to show up. And those lines would be long. And you know how hard it is to stand outside and it's hot, so hot outside you can't breathe? Ugh. It's horrible. Yeah. It's horrible. And then, because there is no restroom around, mm-hmm. you got to think, do I go use a bathroom or do I lose my place in line? Yeah. And people nowadays are not kind. Mm-hmm. So you could leave to go relieve yourself and come back and you're back in the line. So I kept stopping myself. I kept seeing Nussbaum trucks. I kept seeing the graphic trucks. I kept seeing the purpose-driven. I kept seeing all these things. And I'm like, man, I know I need to go to the next place. So I actually left for a student. I went to work for Connect Transit. So I was working in mass transit, and one of the guys in my class was telling me, because he left trucking because he had a newborn, and he was telling me, man, Jamaal, I think you the one person here that could be a truck driver and be successful. And I think he worked at Snyder, or was it FedEx, but he was telling me, yeah, man, you could go for it, just go for it. And again, that was during COVID, and I couldn't get to a course done and stuff like that. And so this year, or last year, excuse me, after Palm Springs, it's like I was reawoken, my mind was reawoken, and I remember the guy telling me about the church to not settle. And I looked at myself and said, Jamaal, you have settled, because it got so easy for you. Now you settled.
Yeah. So
I put my application in for Nussbaum. I wasn't expecting a phone call that quick. But it was like less than a day. I got a phone call. I was headed towards the middle of a route.
Yeah.
You think it is? And I said, oh, sure, why not? So I'm like, and
who was the one that called?
It was Caleb. Caleb called me.
Okay.
Again, I was still skeptical, like I was with first student, skeptical. So I'm walking around and asking my coworkers, like, do you think I should apply to this? And they said, dude, why are you asking me to come here? So my first time seeing a Nussbaum truck, I was on a field trip. We took a group of high school band kids to Belleville High School in Belleville, Illinois, near St. Louis.
Sure.
And one of the drivers, her name was Lola.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I remember her because she got on my bus. She said, wait, I know you. Yeah, how you doing? You don't remember me, huh? I said, I do. I know I've seen your face somewhere before. She said, I used to work there at first, too. She remember, you were the one that I said hello. I'll open the door for you. You first walked through the door. I said, oh, yeah, that was you.
Yeah.
And she said, how you been? This and that. I said, I'm pretty good. And she was like, and I said, what are you doing now? She said, I drive this semi. I was just trying to say, you try that? And she's a small girl, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, you try that? She said, yeah. I said, for real? And so she let me get up, and I walked up on the step and looked inside. I thought, that's pretty cool in there.
Yeah. She
said, Jamaal, it's not hard. She said, driving this bus here is like driving one of the hydraulic buses. I said, for real? She said, yeah, it's similar. I said, but it's air brakes, but it feels the same.
Yeah. I
said, oh, I could do that. And then another guy, he used to work at first. His name was Scott, and I remember he left and came back. He had his Nussbaum jacket on. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wish we get that. We got to wear these stupid safety vests, you know. And
now here you are today with the whole Nussbaum gear on.
Yeah, and, you know, it was probably a nylon safety vest. When you on a school bus, when you walking down the seats, those seats gonna rub against that nylon vest. So you go touch any metal part, you're gonna get shot. I'm glad I'm not getting shot. I got tired of that.
Funny.
I got tired of sweeping enough food on the floor. I'm like, why are y'all getting these kids oranges, and beans, and rice? Why? Who give kids beans and rice on the bus?
Yeah.
Dry beans and rice. Don't do that. Don't give the kids food. Like, don't do that. And but I appreciate the information she gave me, and it was so kind. So when I was in school with the Heartland, my first time going to college, actual college, and it was pretty cool. I went to the wrong building.
Okay.
So the building they shared on the map was not the building I thought it was. So I walked in the building, and I'm like, okay, this is not it. So I'm like, oh man, I'm about to get fired back before I can start. It wasn't like that. And
it was just school, right?
Yeah. But see, you know how long it's been? I graduated high school in 2004. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I sat in there, and the first thing I appreciated was the tables and seats. I'm like, oh, thank you. My fat self could sit down in the seats. Because I remember at first student, they have this little student desk. I'm like, this is not right. It's not right at all.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, and I met Jeff and stuff like that. And he kept going, like, hey, Jamaal, you're not driving a school bus. It's not the bus. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff that you don't have to do like you did on the school bus.
Yeah. Well, to go back and rewind, where so you talked to Caleb, and what was that conversation like, and were you nervous at all to accept the position?
Actually, I think at that time I was more prepared for it.
Okay.
Because this was something that I've been working towards.
Yeah.
Me working security, me working as a chef, me driving up and down California coast, me traveling from California, going to Utah, going to California, Nevada, Utah, Nebraska, Iowa to here. So I got a chance to see a lot of the land prior to me coming here on a bus.
Yeah.
Not driving, but on a bus. Me driving from in a van going to God knows where and God knows places I never seen before, even heard of before. Experiencing weather I never seen before. Driving buses and stuff like that, dealing with all kind of chaos all at the same time on bus and on my bus, while at the same time watching the road and making sure I'm driving safely and doing that at the same time, watching cars, checking my mirrors constantly, and
it's just incredible because, if in the moment when you're experiencing all these different trials and struggles and questions, but it's hard to know what God's doing, but then you can sit here today and you can look back and you can say he was preparing me for this. So
and you never know what God has for you. The thing is, what God has for you, you have to go for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Jonah in the well, right? I'm not comparing my life to Jonah, but when you don't obey what God asks you to do, God gonna put you through trials that you're not prepared for. And every time Jonah disobeyed God, God put him through more trials and more issues, till he had no choice but to go to God. Every time you just disobey God, it's not just you is affected; it's everybody around you also get affected by it too.
Yeah.
And I realized that it was by God that gave me the information to come here in the first place. Because like I said, I was going through the worst. I was going through so much, and I could easily give up.
Yeah.
I could easily been like the other people who have given up. The woe is me attitude and just, why? You know what? What's the point?
Yeah.
But there is a point, there's a progress that you have to go through.
Yeah. Well, I can honestly say that hearing your story and that you fought to still earn an income and to support your kids even in the midst of living in your car and homelessness means a lot to me because I actually lost my dad to suicide because he struggled so much with debt and he was too ashamed to ever let us know that was a problem. And so he saw suicide essentially as a way out for life insurance to take care of us. So to hear your story and to know that you were willing to go through those different trials to, in the long run, be able to care for your children is just amazing. So, and even in my story too, I hold absolutely no bitterness or shame in the decision that my dad made because in the end, through that decision, I learned that Christ loved me so much that he gave his life for me to pay off my eternal debt. And so whatever situation we're going through, God can work all things for good for those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. And so, I just, hearing your story and knowing that you're, fighting through these different things, it's really good to hear.
And saying you never know what the average person is going through.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure I'm not the only truck driver on the road that has something similar or something worse than what I have been going through.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate because I was given an opportunity to know who Christ was when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
My mom put me in church. My mom, she's an evangelist. My uncles were my pastor. So I got that opportunity to be a part as a kid. I got that structured place in me early.
Yeah.
And every time I go through things, I have that to go back on. It's sad that some people don't get to have that. Mm-hmm. Some people don't have that internal love inside their heart, the internal God inside of them. We all got that God in us. God gave his breath to all of us to share, right? Not to hold. You know, the Bible says, I will pour out blessings so great that you have enough room to receive it. So the blessing God given me wasn't just for me, it was for all of us to share together. Mm-hmm. But some of us don't know how to tap into that blessing because we were never shown it in the first place. Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of people that I have met, even at the shelter, whose parents were drug addicts, whose parents were rapists and this and that, and they were drug addicts. They were mental PTSD, some was veterans and stuff like that, and they didn't have no alternative. They made a lot of bad choices because they had no choice. Mm-hmm. Even though I didn't have a choice, I made a choice to not do the wrong things. Mm-hmm. I made a choice to be honest and be true to myself and honor God, honor my mom. Because the things that we do in life is you honor your parents. That's what the Bible says, honor our parents, right? Mm-hmm. But how do you honor your parents? You honor your parents by how you live your life, how you make your decisions. Your decisions that you make matters, right? If I decide to make a right-hand turn, right, onto a road that's busy, how am I going to turn to that road? I got to make the choice whether or not it's safe or not. Mm-hmm. That's my choice. It's my choice to break the law. It's my choice to obey the law. I chose to follow what God told me to do. Yeah. Even when I didn't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I didn't know nothing about Illinois. I mean, matter of fact, I didn't even know there was other cities besides Chicago. Yeah. In Illinois. You know, it's not like I went to a thesaurus or a map and look, hey, let me go find Rantoul. Let me go find Bloomington, Norman. No, I was too busy trying to find a place to live. Yeah. You know, or food to eat. You know, that was my biggest thing. Yeah. But now I'm here now, and I'm so grateful that God gave me a stable mind. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful that God gave me a stable foundation to start from. Yeah. I did get into back in church, and I'm grateful that my pastor and the saints had brought me in and treated me like family, even though they're not my family. Yeah. Even though sometimes I do feel like I could be an outsider, but they haven't treated me like that. They have embraced me. Yeah. My pastor, him and his wife, the late Edith Campbell, so they had 2 church vans. When I first got my apartment, they said, Jamaal, you know what? We want to make sure that you're okay. We want to give you one of the church vans to drive around for your own. Just take the letters off the church van, and it's yours. And I didn't have to pay for it. They just gave me the pink slip as it was. And I thank God for that. I thank God that God allowed them to bless me, even though they didn't have to. Yeah. Right? The information that people give me, they didn't have to give it to me. That guy in Stockton had to tell me about moving to the Midwest. But I thank God for that decision for me to move here. Yeah. You know, the Bible says, Romans chapter 5, verse 19, by one man's disobedience, all were made sinners. By one man's obedience, all were made righteous. So that being said, every time I make the decisions to obey what God asked me to do, I'm going to help others around me. Yeah. Right? And it's like that old story about the lighthouse. You know, how we got to be the lighthouse for Christ. You got to be the lighthouse for people to see you. Right? So my actions matter. You know, what I do matters. So when I came to Nussbaum, I was at at the level of attention I received. When I first walked through the door, I'm like, is this a truck company? Or is this a resort? What is this? Right? And I was telling my girlfriend, I said, babe, I had never seen this before. She said, what do you mean? There was fresh fruit. There was a barbecue pit, a lake outside, a little pond outside. I have never seen this before. I've always seen the worst. I've always experienced the worst. And I got so used to it, I became numb to it. I got so numb to people just treating me like dirt, not having nothing. I got so comfortable with just surviving. Yeah. This is the first time in my life when I could experience living. And there's nothing like it. But we got to go through that test. We got to go through that trial and error. We got to go through that just so we can have a purpose to move forward on. So when my kids are able to meet me, they can see the things I have been able to do for them. Yeah. Even if I'm not able to see them daily, even if I'm not able to talk to them, they can see the foundation that I placed down in front of them. Will they be truck drivers? Who knows? Yeah. But I could say that I could do more for my kids now than I could ever do before. As I'm grateful for the level of love I have received. It's crazy because every time I run into a Nussbaum truck driver, it's been quite a few I ran to. They all been so kind and so nice, and I'm not used to that either. I said I worked in the service industry. I'm used to people just talking to you like dirt, and still have to hold a composure and be professional. And the old ghetto version of myself, I want to cuss him out, but I can't because I'm a child of God. Yeah. So I have to say, God bless you anyway, and I have to learn that even now, how I talk and how I carry myself, how to constantly subject myself and do the right thing. Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy because, we all have our own issues. But if you do it the way God intended you to do it, He will always bless you. Yeah. And that's the purpose of God giving us, because He wants to bless us. He don't want to take from you. He want to give to you, right? Where we just got to be obedient and press forward and pray for others. And so every time I see a truck driver, every time I see a car, it doesn't matter. Every night when I end my shift, end my run for the night, I pray. I pray for everybody. I pray for everything I have seen, because you never know what people are going through. Yeah. You never know what people are thinking of. I did contemplate suicide. Because to me, that was the easy way out. It's so much easier to just end everything here. Yeah. But I thank God for God. I thank God for Him being that foundation that I need. Because sometimes that's all we got. Yeah. Right? Not saying that we don't have family, but that's all we got is God. And we got to rely on Him more. Even while we're going through adversity, we got to rely on Him more. Even when we're going through grief, we got to rely on Him more when we're going through things, whether it's good or bad. Yeah. And that's what keeps me sane. That's what keeps me moving forward. A person could come and do something terrible in front of me, and I could say to them, God bless you. Because in my heart, I have no hatred towards them. If I had hatred towards you, that means you are now controlling me. Yeah. Right? Only person controlling me is God of love. And that's why I want to tell people all the time, like, and that's why I always say, do the right thing, because you never know who you're teaching. Yeah. Who's watching you. Not too long ago, this little kid, I was at the petrol in Sawyer, and I was pulling into the fuel pump, and he was in another truck with his dad, and he did this, so I obliged him, and his dad's like, "Thank you, my son really loves your trucks."
And for anyone that's just listening to audio, we gave the pull your horn sign.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, like, seeing that. He's like, yeah, he's like, my son loves y'all trucks, stuff like that. I said, I like our trucks too. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I get mad when I had to pull a trailer with no graphics on. I'm like, dude, I don't want that. I want the one with the face on it, the pictures on it. I want that one. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I look forward to those trailers because it makes me feel like I have a purpose more, and I can spread God's word more. Yeah. In further distances.
Yeah. Well, a new trailer's coming out soon. The Psalm series. I think it's The Heavens Declare the Glories of God. So that should be expected sometime soon.
Well, I can't wait. Yeah, I love the sign.
I think we have to pick it up from California. Like someone takes it from California to here. So I think we're just waiting on a batch of deliveries.
Yeah, I remember I was driving out US 51. I was in Hamilton. I saw the sign on the billboard. I'm like, yes. Yes, I was telling my girl. She said, "What is that?" I said, "Babe, look at that." She said, "Oh, that's good."
Yeah.
So the Christmas, I wasn't expecting a gift from Nussbaum, but I forgot a little coffee mug and stuff like that. The gift card, little Christmas card on it. So I mailed that to my mom.
Aww.
Cause my mom, she loves stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we ended up having a whole Bible study based off that scripture alone.
Wow.
And we was talking about the sand, how God purposed the sand for us. How God uses sand to create other things.
Yeah.
Right? Excuse me. Sand could be used to create glass, but it's also could be used to refine things.
Wow.
And sometimes God got to put us to the sand to refine us, just so we could look like the clean glass. So people could see Christ in us.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about this whole purpose thing and stuff like that. And I tell my mom all the time, I said, "Mama, I don't care what's going on around you. That peace is what you need." And so I thank God for Nussbaum. I thank God for me being here. Have a Nussbaum shirt that I actually like. I like these shirts more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never had a jacket with my name on before.
Wow.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All this is just crazy. When I pull into the shop and they all just kind. I always take digs at the guy with the Green Bay Packers cup because I'm a 49er fan. I say, I like you, but your team, oh man. But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay because we all gonna have our own different things. But the fact I could call somebody and they say, "Hey, how you doing, Jamaal?" I like that.
Yeah.
To where I could call, "Hey, what do you want?" I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be your person, your employee.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have someone together, all on the same chord. So I do appreciate that the most.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's just an incredible story. And is it been, 3-4 months you've been here?
About 3-4 months now.
Okay.
And every day is a different experience for me.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I wish I had a detailed camera, like a high definition camera on my truck so I could show people what the trees look like with the snow on top. Because again, growing up in California, I didn't get a sense to see none of that stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm seeing this for the first time and I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you ever have a rider with you, I can always take pictures for you. So.
And I was thinking about saying, I don't know if a GoPro camera will work that way. But I thought about it. I said, no, it probably won't.
Yeah.
Probably won't be as great. But this is the landscape that God given us that He paints for us to see every year.
Yeah.
Four season year is something new.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the most.
Wow. Well, praise God that you're here, and thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there anything that you'd like to leave everybody with, whether it's just like a verse, a word of encouragement, or anything at all?
Well, I just want to make sure people understand when it comes down to us doing our job, when it comes down to us talking to other people, when it comes down to us learning, remember, it's not about you. Sometimes we put ourselves first, which is normal. Yeah. But sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's about that person that you're talking to. And remember, you are the lighthouse. You are that brightness that people need. Yeah. So a smile and a hey, how you doing does matter. Because you never know, that person could be going through something so dark. And the fact that you was the only person in their day to say hello. Yeah. It matters. It goes a long way. Yeah.
Wow. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Jamaal.
You too.
It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, thank you too. Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Caleb from Nussbaum Recruiting, and I'd love to answer any questions you have about driving with us. Give us a call at 309-268-1199 or visit nussbaumjobs.com. Hope to talk to you soon. You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation. If you're enjoying our content, please leave us a review. Your reviews help us spread the word about these important topics and invite more people into the conversation. You can rate and review us on your podcast app or visit us online at terminalexchange.org. New episodes arrive every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Nussbaum on your favorite social media platforms and be the first to know when new episodes are released. Thanks for listening. Until next time, own every moment and stay purpose-driven.